Fam, what's up? Welcome back to the CEO Pulse Podcast, where you get the real, the raw, and the mind of entrepreneurship. Let's talk about focus. We are here on another episode of the Mindset Monday podcast with my co-host, Justin Thorstad. Bam. Yeah,
okay. Well,
yeah, like it.
That'll work.
I was I was waiting to see some leg movement or something there, but no.
I was waiting for like the crescendo.
That was a crescendo.
I was focusing on the end result.
I'm sorry you have no ear for music.
I don't. That's true.
That was very
deaf tone.
Anyways,
tuned up.
So I think what was happening is you were not focusing on the music that was being played for you.
That's true. I wasn't present with it.
Yeah, you were not present.
Yeah.
So, fam, all right, after we stop being idiots, we can go back to topic. Let's talk about focus, all right? So one of the things that keeps bubbling up, and this is over the last maybe three to 4 weeks, I've been more and more aware of where I'm intentionally placing my focus on, right? And one of the things, and I can't even remember where I picked it up from. I don't know if I read it. I don't know if it just came to me on meditation. I can't remember. But the emphasis of highest and best has been a key pillar over the last maybe month. And I'm telling you, man, just going back to that thought of focusing on my highest and best, focusing on my highest and best, and I'm sure you know, like everybody out there has heard the expression in the past, but really owning it and understanding it from an internal standpoint, what is my individual highest and best, has given me way more results over the last month than when I'm going through everything and trying to put out all the fires at the same time.
Yeah. Would you say that focusing on your highest and best and the results you've produced have come with less effort? Yeah, it does. Almost to the point where you feel like, when you feel like something is off because you're not going crazy. Yeah. But then I think about, okay, the thing that I would be, worried about, and okay, this person has it handled. Okay, that's been, taken care of. And now I think I'm opening up more space for the things that I really want to do, as opposed to getting caught in the tasky stuff, right? Which is super easy to do as an entrepreneur. Yeah. And so unproductive.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know if that makes sense, right? But focusing on finding out what your personal highest and best. So if you're running a business, if you're launching a business, if you're running a team, whatever that is, right? Think about the activities or the time spent that's going to give you the highest and best use of your time. Right, so use of your efforts as well, and it's interesting. But right now, like what I'm seeing on my end is my highest and best is not deal structure. Even though I love structuring deals, I'm a deal junkie when it comes to And it's like playing, right?
Yeah.
It's like playtime, but it's not my highest and best, dude. It's really not. My highest and best is empowering right now. It's coaching, it's training up the team, and spending time improving the systems and the processes.
Well, would you say, though, that doing some deals here and there and structuring some things keeps you fresh and relevant and of value to your coaching students?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah.
It's not that you have to be in motion with the thing that you're coaching to. If you've done it before, you have the experience, and you have hundreds of thousands of different deals that you've structured and closed. So it's like, if you stop today, you'd still be fine and still a valid coach. However, there's something to be said about staying in the lane to a degree, right? Although it's not your highest and best, but if it's playtime too, which is another point of focus of like the action in of itself is the fulfillment, what I mean? Then it's not work, it's play. And you got to budget some time to play.
No, absolutely. I agree with that to the T, right? But also getting caught in that because it's playtime, and then you can't step away from it when you want to. And you want real playtime. You want family time. You want a weekend off. You want to just disconnect and get the fuck out and things. Can you continue moving? Like that's when that becomes an issue.
Oh, the struggle is real.
Yeah,
and I think every entrepreneur listening or watching can identify with that.
Yeah. And I mean, it is a very real thing, right? To get caught up in the taskiness, to get caught up in the not, I don't want to say nonsense, right? Because it's not nonsense. We're all pursuing something every time we go out there and we give it everything we have. So, but it just becomes a bigger rat race, really, if you don't watch out, right? Because
If you're not focused.
if you're not focused, yeah, there you go. If you're not focused on the right things, and prioritize the right things, right? You're gonna get caught in that wheel where you can't step away from it. Everything gets cloudy, everything gets noisy, and then all we have is this sensation of pressure on top of us, which is very valid.
Well,
when you have people that are dependent on.
Yeah, it's valid. However, how many entrepreneurs, though, find it like a virtue that they grind and work 80, 100 hours a week? Like, it's almost like a badge of honor, right? I was just talking with this dude I just met for coffee, and he's a loan officer, super successful, and just a fucking genuine guy. So anyways, we were talking about that, past work and stuff like that, of like, I remember a time where I worked 91 days straight without a day off. This was many, many years ago. And it was almost like a pride thing, like, check me out. Like, you don't work that hard, a comparison type thing.
Yeah.
This is before personal development. And it's like, that's not a good thing. In fact, that's really stupid. Like, why would you want to work that much? Especially if you could create the highest and best result and work less.
Right.
And you can, and there is a way, like, it's a formula. And so if you're working that much and you're working that hard, you're probably, if you have a family, which you may not for long if you continue, you're a shitty husband and a shitty father, a shitty friend, because you don't have time for any of that. You're too busy working. And your business as an entrepreneur is just a facet of your life. It's one dimension of many that you have. And if you continue down that path of one-dimensional, pretty soon that'll be all that you have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you got to focus on the other facets of life so that you can invest and feed energy into them, breathe life into it, so that it's a beautiful thing.
You know what? It's funny you bring that up, but one of the things that triggered it was actually a trip I took recently. I took a trip down to Baja with my son, and it was really cool experience. We went out we liked the races, down there, and I got to disconnect for a while when I'd been like grinding since like heavy. In the trenches and going at it because we're doing expansion, a couple of different projects, and I got so much into it over the last year and a half.
Wait, you're doing multiple projects at the same time? Weird.
Yeah, only this is on overdrive. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's not a good thing to say that I'm used to that kind of activity, right?
It's a trauma response.
But when
we like the chaos. What can I say?
Chaos. It's weird, but I have a chip on my shoulder that about performing well under pressure, right? Put me under pressure and I can perform well. Why should I need pressure to perform, right? Like, why can't you just perform from this space of
funnerist?
Yeah, it's a funnerist way. Yeah, it's a funnerist way to operate. But anyways, we took this trip and it was really cool, disconnected. I was able to, ignore, some of the emails and that kind of stuff. I was still, a little bit tapped in because I honestly couldn't I still had to check the whiteboard and do a couple of things like that, right? But for the most part, I didn't have a lot of interest in doing it. I mean, for the first time in forever, it was like, oh man, okay, I got to check on how it is. But it felt like there was something that I was having, more fun with, and I was more engaged in than the workiness.
Oh, got it. Because, ladies and gentlemen, you may not know this. However, when we go to Mexico, inevitably there's days where in the morning, Raph is plugged into the laptop on the balcony of the penthouse, and we're overlooking the ocean, wanting to go have fun, and this mother effer is working, and I'm like, ugh, gross.
So I do. So anyways, I tapped in a little bit, not like that this time, but it was fun, right? And again, I did feel a little nervous on okay, like, man, that needs to be handled. And honestly, what I did, I was just pushed everything over. It's not that it was being handled, the way that it should have been. And nothing fell through. I mean, no major, fires or anything like that. But there were still things that needed to be,
there always
off,
is,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now here's the kicker. I'm over there, and then it hit me. I got to a point where where I got a little bit pissed off at myself. I was like, dude, that's a stupid task. Why am I doing that task?
Oh yeah, I get irritated about that stuff.
It's not like when I have a team that's very capable, can do it better than I can. Like, why am I, leading that? Focusing any portion of my time on doing and taking over that task.
Well, why is that?
Yeah. Okay. So going back to the highest and best. So that triggered us. Like, man, I shouldn't even be thinking about that right now, right? That should be like, there's people in my team that are more capable, than me at that particular thing.
Yeah.
So they should handle it, right? But I hadn't set it up like that. You know what I mean?
So I know exactly what you mean.
Again, so I wasn't focusing. I was focusing on expanding and fine tuning the business and the SOPs, and I got back into the grind, right? Because we need that connection to the actual process to improve the process.
Sure. Yeah.
You can't. I don't care who you are. I don't care how good you are. If you're thinking that you're going to improve a business from theoretical means, you're full of shit.
Yeah, well, you got to staple yourself to the client and go through the process to see what their experience is.
Yeah. Exactly. Mm-hmm. So that's what I've been doing over the last few quarters, and I got trapped in it, in that for a little too long. It's like, no, okay, I should not be having to worry about that kind of stuff. So it's like, all right, cool, and it got me thinking, what's my highest and best? What's my highest and best? And I came back to it, and I cut, some loose ends that were just noise. Okay, this is not my highest and best. This is not my highest and best. And I'm telling you, when I rewired my thinking to my highest and best, and that's having clarity over what my highest and best is. And I'll go over that here in a sec. Dude, it makes things and decision making a lot easier. It's like, okay, I'm not gonna take that meeting. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna go this and that because it's not my highest and best. And it may sound a little narcissist, but it's like it's moved the needle so much over the last several weeks.
100%. Well, again, how many opportunities or things are asked of you on a daily basis? And it's like, in order to say no to a thing, you got to know what you're going to say yes to. Yeah. And like, it's got to fit into this box. If it's not this, it's a no. Yeah. And that's a struggle for, I think, a lot of entrepreneurs to make. Struggle for them to make that transition because they get that fulfillment out of being busy and doing all the things. And it's like, you probably suck at most of those things that you're doing because it's not your highest and best. Like, it's not your lane. Yeah. And there's somebody out there that would like run circles around you as far as effectiveness and efficiency, and it's because they like doing that thing and you don't. So why are you doing it?
Yeah. Absolutely, dude. So asking yourself the question, right? What is your highest and best? Where are you performing right now? That you should be delegating those tasks, that you shouldn't be consuming your time with it, not because you don't want to do anything throughout the day, but because you're going to find something that's going to yield a lot better or higher levels of results. Well, altogether.
I like to think of myself as intelligently lazy.
Yeah.
Meaning I don't like doing shit I don't like doing.
I like that.
You know what I mean?
I'm gonna borrow that.
I heard a perspective, and you probably know where this book came from because you recommended it. The guy said that procrastination is wisdom. And I was like, whoa, that's the opposite of what I've felt. Procrastination is wisdom because if you're avoiding something, it's probably because you're not confident, you're insufficient, you don't like it. Yeah. Which that's pointing you in the direction to like delegate it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like if you're putting it off, there's a reason. Now, if you're scared of it, okay, well, maybe go ahead and head on because you can develop something within you. But, those little tasks you were talking about, right? Like if you find yourself procrastinating, hesitating, avoiding doing it, it's probably because you shouldn't be doing it. So if it's on your list, it's time to get it off of there. But in order to focus on the highest and best actions or behaviors that you're going to do, you'd have to know first and foremost, what's my highest and best end result? Like, where am I going?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then what role can I fulfill in such a way that I'd produce great results and I'd enjoy the process along the way? Like, that's what I'm going to say yes to.
Yeah. Ironically, I found out that in my businesses, my highest and best is still coaching.
Yeah.
So it really is. It's training my team and then fine tuning the SOPs and all the protocols that I built over the years, fine tuning that and then just cleaning that out. So I've gone on hyper mode on that over the last month, and I'm telling you, dude, pieces are falling together a lot easier.
You were just late to the party for the realization.
Yeah, pretty much. So
you can't be intelligent and good looking.
So well. I'll be smart. So it's pretty it's pretty interesting, right? How it's even though the information is there, like I've known that for a long time. I forgot about it. It was like shit. Now I have to remind myself to go back to it. Now throughout the month, I've been thinking about, okay, what's my highest and best? What's my highest and best? Am I focusing on my highest and best right now? So throughout the day, it's like it's almost a secondary thought that's just there constantly redirecting me, right? But it's empowering the team. It's training, for example, my transaction coordinator on new stuff, new protocols, new processes. We're tapping into new sources of leads, for example, and building that out, but training the team on how to do it, as opposed to me going through
100%
through the process every single time.
So right now I've gone through a rebranding for the brokerage, and there's a lot that comes along with that. Everything's got to be touched and changed, from the font and the logo, all that kind of stuff. Plus adding some things that had to be created and developed, in alignment with the brand guide. Like, bro, that is not my highest and best.
Yeah.
I mean, I can do it, but it would take me forever, and I'm not enjoying it, right?
Yeah.
So I've been wanting to hire a VA for a long time. But, my inner roommate's like, yeah, but you don't know where to look for that, and how do you know it's going to be a good fit, and what if they suck, and all these different doubts and concerns. And besides, like you said, training your TC, that's what prompted this. If I had to take the time to tell them what to do and how to do it, I might as well just do it myself.
Yeah.
And that is bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you do it once.
Yeah. So I finally just decided, okay, I'm doing this. And once I decided that, no, I'm not going to do anything that's not in alignment with my highest and best, guess what happened? Boom. A referral source for VAs where they find them for you. You tell them exactly what you need them to do, and they'll get a couple, and you can interview them, and they have a whole process to train them for you. Like, amazing. And it's so incredibly cheap. You cannot find a person like that here in the States for that wage. Not going to happen.
What is it? What's the resource?
I forget the name. I'll get it to you though.
Wow. One job.
Well, I decided this thing on Thursday at about noon. And then by Friday at 2 p.m., I had a Zoom with this lady that runs this company that does this.
Yeah.
And I should be looking at resumes today.
Nice.
Yeah. And for $1,500 a month, full time.
Yeah.
That comes out to $8.63 an hour, which is kind of high, I hear. I'm sure she gets an override.
Yeah, it depends on the role, on the VA role. Like if it's an admin role, it's not a bad.
No, I mean, think about it. That's $18,000 a year for a full-time employee.
Yeah.
You can't do that. Like,
yeah,
it's less than minimum wage. But over there, they're like royalty with that kind of wage.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's just a different, monetary system. Yeah. I mean, and that's important, right? Like going back and thinking about our highest and best. I feel like another thing that kind of bubbled up, and this is me just kind of sitting with it and having some level of awareness is it's like, okay, cool, that's done. And then I was going over some of the big things, big ticket items that I knocked out, right? Because I was focused on my highest and best. Okay. Highest and best helps me be a lot more productive, a lot faster.
Oh, yeah.
My to-do list, I mean, I end up with a bunch of shit in it that doesn't even matter because I tackled the big stuff. And I was like, all right, cool. Now what do I do?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love that feeling of like, I got nothing to do. Well, no, I mean, there's a lot to do. No, but I'm not talking about work.
Here's what I found out too. Like it's once I'm into a specific task, a project or something, right? Like, okay, this is my target. This is my thing for the time being. When I complete that task, finding, like when I'm in transition of finding the next thing that I'm going to focus on, that's where I get lost. That's where I go back into, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like it's, for example, I was building a CRM for
this
commercial
CRMs.
So it took me a minute to build it out. I did the build out, right? And I completed it, tuned it and whatever. And it was a big ticket item on my list. And when I wrapped it, I was like, man, what's the next thing? I feel like I have a million things that need to be handled, right? But which one do I grab on and grab onto and then, focus on that? Like that to me is a question that's often like that. I feel like that's where I get lost because I start looking at a lot of like little shiny objects and whatnot.
Yeah.
When I have something to kill, Like I go after it, right?
Yeah, but here's the deal. When you get to that, okay, so you focus on the highest and best and delegate everything else, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you do that, and then you're left with only a couple action items that are big ticket. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you do that, you're 100% focused, not distracted.
Yeah.
And so, the end result comes to life as the highest and best.
Yeah.
And it was fun in the process, and it gets done typically faster than you think, which things typically take longer than you think. And so when that's completed and you have spare time because you budgeted time to, get it done, and you got it done in a short amount of time, now you get to go play in that state of like research and development.
Yeah.
Those little things that you can get lost in a rabbit hole. You have time for it. And it's innovative, creative, and man, what beautiful things can come out of that. Because I'm sure you've had an experience of yourself where you've been in that state, done that thing, and then you just added a major element to your business that's super profitable or value add to your employees or whatever. Like that's the gold right there, man.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
If you're always tasky and getting, I have to be busy and working, you don't have time for that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't know what the highest and best use of your time and effort is,
you'll always be working.
You're always going to be just kind of swindling around that wheel, and it was a big thing for me to come to realize and actually implement and roll it out. It's a big difference between having the information, understanding, oh, my highest and best sounds like a really good punchline. But embracing it and actually taking it home, it's a completely different thing. It's a completely different way of doing things.
Totally. And so the highest and best. Okay, so before we talk about action items, it's like, okay, what's the highest and best end result? Like, where am I even going with this, right?
Right.
And so for those of you watching and listening, I think for me personally, it's sitting down with a piece of paper, no distractions, like no pets, no honey, no cell phone, nothing, just paper and pen. And writing out, okay, what is it that I'd really like to accomplish? And why is this important to me? Like, what is there to gain when it's done? And what's it going to cost me if I don't achieve this? You know what I mean? Like, you get a little bit of motivation, right?
Yeah.
Like, I prefer to volunteer to head things on, but it helps if you got something chasing you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what's at stake if I fail? And by fail, I mean quit. But like, get abundantly clear on what is it I want, why do I even want it, and what's the beauty in accomplishing it, and what happens if I don't? Okay, good. So now that we have
that's a direction of it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Then you can reverse engineer it, like our last episode. And thank you for that, by the way. And then it's like, okay, so what role can I fulfill in this process that I'm really good at, that would be a lot of fun, and it's going to be your unique ability, and you're going to just crush it. So everything else has got to be delegated.
And let me, a side note, right? If you don't have stuff like a team, if you don't have, just simply a team or somebody to delegate to, right? It doesn't mean that you can't focus on your highest and best. Your highest and best just becomes a matter of prioritizing. Okay, what is the highest and best thing that I could be doing right now?
That's a good point.
What's going to give me my biggest result, my biggest bang for my minutes, right now? And it's interesting, but a lot of the times, it's not going to be the stuff that we want to do.
No.
It's not going to be building the website. It's not going to be coming up with the logo. It's not going to be, checking out the KPIs and all that stuff. No, it's making the fucking calls.
Totally. But here's my, and maybe I'm delusional, but if you're an entrepreneur and you're a one man or one woman show, right?
Yeah.
And you look at what's the highest and best action for me to take, it usually is something that you're really good at, and it moves the needle forward in productivity, in revenue, right?
Absolutely.
And so start with that first, not like, oh, I had to have a whole day set aside for that because I got to get into my zone. No, just start with that, because when you finish it and you produce the result, how you feeling?
Yeah.
Really damn good. You're thinking great things about yourself, right? Now you're taking an elevated state of being into the tasky items, and you might actually enjoy the process because you're just in a good state. You'll produce a higher and better result than just like, okay, well, I got to start with the BS stuff first and knock this out. And then when I have time, I can get to my highest and best. Like, no, you got to ask backwards.
Yeah.
You know,
it's, I mean, we always talk about action, taking action on any the ideas and the stuff that we want to accomplish, right? Nothing happens if you don't move. Like if there's no momentum, nothing happens. So now we talk about massive action, right? And it's not just about throwing swings up in the into the air. It's it's about sitting there and, okay, what is my biggest thing right now? What can I tackle right now at this point in time with the resources that I have, with the relationships that I have? Is a phone call to this person my highest and best right now? And the crazy thing is, mark my words, and if you're listening, let me know, drop it in the comments, shoot me a message, tag me on social media. When did it happen? Right? If you focus on your highest and best, and you made a simple, like maybe something that doesn't feel like work, something that doesn't feel like it's taking a lot of you, but it's going to move the needle. It can be a connection, a relationship with somebody else that just all of a sudden gave you 10x return or reward for whatever reason, right? It's those things, and at the end of the day, it may feel like like we haven't done a lot throughout the day because we're not killing ourselves. But when you take inventory, which I do every night, when you take inventory of the day of what happened, we do good. It was like, shit, man, today this happened. That was pretty big. That happened. That was pretty big. And then you end up right with a handful of things that move the actual needle because you were focusing on the highest and best. So even if you don't have a team, it's not an excuse, right? You don't have to delegate stuff. Just focus on your own individual, personal, highest and best for the next step, right? When you're climbing a mountain, you don't focus on the peak. You focus on the next 3 feet in front of you. I mean, that's how it goes.
I recently I got abundantly clear on the highest and best from an organization and the who, not how, right? Yeah. And I articulated that, it's documented, and it feels really good because I have clarity. And just doing that and knowing what my role isn't and what I'm going to delegate only leaves the possibilities of what is my highest and best. And I'm so excited about going for it. I barely started, but the energy, the excitement, the enthusiasm that I have, the inspiration to move forward and knowing that I'm going to go do these cool projects, which I've been wanting to do for quite some time, just that state alone has brought to me some connections and opportunities, one later today and actually 3, one on Thursday and one on Wednesday. And these are conversations of like career-changing, life-altering conversations, regardless of the outcome. I don't want to discuss it just yet, but I am so fucking incredibly excited about these conversations. And I didn't do anything to make them happen. They came to me just out of the blue, dropped in my lap.
Yeah.
And they were through connections people I know made for me. Now, where were these opportunities 3 months ago when I was in tasking mode?
Yeah.
Nowhere to be found, right? So getting clear on what is your highest and best, just that state of like, yes, you can now get excited and get this sense of inspiration about what you're about to go do. Yeah. Just that alone is so attractive, and it's a higher vibration in alignment with higher opportunities. Yeah, 100%. So, again, if any one of these 3 opportunities pops, like it's life altering and in such a beautiful way. And I'm so excited, so blessed, so grateful. And I did nothing other than what's in my best interest to get clear on my highest and best so I can focus on that. That's it.
Love it.
It attracts opportunities.
I love it. So just to recap, guys and gals, think about it, right? As you're going through the day, are you just, if you're feeling stuck on the same emotions, if you're feeling like you're not moving the needle on certain things, focus on your highest and best individually, right? What is your own personal highest and best? Not as an entity, as a company, as a team, as a whatever. Look at your own highest and best and focus on that. If you don't have a team, you can still focus on your own highest and best. And that's going to move the needle faster than getting tasked out by other stuff that doesn't really, it's not relevant. So think about that kind of stuff. And it's a big difference between taking leaps as opposed to tiny little steps on along the way. So
yeah, well, and to support you with that process of focusing on the highest and best throughout the day, because energy flows where attention goes, and you place your attention on a thing, you focus. Yeah. So if you want to save you from yourself, meaning you want to focus on the highest and best throughout the day, set an alarm on your phone to go off every 30 minutes of your working hours. Every 30 minutes. So that goes off as a reminder of am I doing my highest and best, or did I get off track? And that's okay. Like, no energy, emotion labels on it. It's not good, bad, right, or wrong. It just is. Get back on track. Choose differently.
Yeah. So there you go. Hammer it out. Awesome. Great talk, dude. Where can somebody get a hold of you if they want to continue?
Absolutely. JustinThorstad.com, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at Mindset Coach JT, or my cell, 602-348-8534.
What's your brokerage's website?
LibertasRealEstate.com.
LibertasRealEstate.com.
Yeah, I don't really like the site, but that's okay.
All right.
Contact info's on there.
Well, you can have somebody else be their highest and best.
Oh, yeah. It ain't going to be me.
Yes. There you go. All right. So, fam, do us a favor. If you like the episode, you think it's good content, good substance stuff, and valued, share it, spread it, send it out to somebody who you think might benefit from it. Help us spread the word. We're empowering entrepreneurship. Mindset Mondays is honestly one of my favorite things, to record on a weekly basis. It puts me on check, but I think it helps everybody around us as well. So
absolutely.
Thank you all for supporting through the journey. Follow me on social media at Rafael Cortez, CEO. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share the podcast. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Until then, stay focused. You got this. Let's go.